to explain to you what was I doing? In today's video, I'm going to do my best to explain to you what RC rates are, what super exponential rates are, what Expo is. So strap into your cockpit and hang on for the ride of your life. Not really. Actually, we're just going to sit here and do some sim work, but at any rate, on with the video. What's up, FPV pilots? It's Wayne Stevenson here. In this video, I got something special for you. But don't I always? If you've been subscribed to my channel or you've been watching my videos, about 1 year ago to the day, I came up with this video right there. That video shows you guys how to lower your rates for either a more cinematic experience flying drones or to make it easier on you. In that video, I said I was going to come back. Maybe I said I was going to come back, or maybe I just said I wasn't going to cover the stuff. At any rate, I didn't cover the differences between Super Expo, Expo, RC Expo, that stuff. So here we are, almost 1 year to the date. My channel's almost 1 year old. I want to thank all of you guys that have been supporting me. Big up. Big up. I couldn't have done it without you. I'm here for you guys. So I appreciate the support. I appreciate the comments. And if I'm helping you, that's what I'm here for. Anyhow, without further ado, I'm going to show you guys, or explain to you guys, what all those RC Expos, RC rates and Super Rates or Super Expo is, so that you can use it to your advantage. You can use it to help you fly more comfortably, fly better, maybe whatever. Let's do it. So I got my RC transmitter here. I'm gonna pop into liftoff. I'm gonna keep my beautiful mug in a little video down in the corner right there. So hang tight while I switch it on over. All right, here we are, guys. Now, I'm going to apologize because I've never actually had to try it or attempt to explain this to anybody before. So I'm going to do my best at this to convey to you what exactly I'm trying to say. I hope I don't confuse you. But let's get started. As you can see, we've got a default setting right there. Our max rate right now is 667. Our RC rate is 1.0 and a super of 0.7. This max column here, that's the maximum rate that our drone's going to rotate on an axis. Whether it be a yaw, a roll, or a pitch. That's the maximum rate. And that rate comes from a combination of your RC rate as well as your super rate. Now your super rate is kind of like number 11 attached onto a max of 10, and it puts that way at the end of your stick travel, your deflection. So you get your regular rates, that's your RC rate, in kind of like the first half of all the travel, or the first quarter of the right or first quarter of the left, or up or down, whichever you want. But right around the center stick there is where most of your RC rate sits when you're running super. And then when you go full stick deflection, it ramps up in a curve. As you can see, the curve right here. This is a curve here around the center of your stick deflection. It's relatively flat compared to the rest of it. So as I knock back the super rate, you can see that curve flattening out. Let's just get rid of it altogether, and then you can see what it looks like. That Cartesian graphel. There you go. So we've dumped super. Now all we're dealing with is our RC rate. What that means is whatever you do on here is still going to be 200. That's your rate. That's your RC rate. 1.0 gives you 200 rotations per second, or degrees per second, whatever you call it. That's the rate now. So let's just save this, and I'm going to show you. We're going to start on the basics with just an RC rate. I'm going to reset our model here, arm it. And now you can see so even with full stick deflection, my movement's pretty linear. Doesn't matter whether I'm giving a little or a lot, it's still rotating at the same rate. And so if you're looking for like a buttery flight, this is perfect. If you want cinematic, that's great. However, if you're into freestyling, racing, you need that precision control of low rates, but you also want the ability to do your fast adjustments, you know, flicking back, whatever you want. You want that extra speed at the end of that, and that's where super comes in. So I'm going to show you right now. Let's double our rates up to up to 400. So now we're dealing with an RC rate of 1, which is 200. So we can expect to get 200 right around the center of our axis, right around here, center of our stick deflection. And then towards the edge of that, we have the capability of doubling our speed. So let's save that. We're going to reset our quad. Okay. So now we are dealing with a bit of super tacked on. Watch my sticks. Getting started, you're going to see where my sticks are. I'm going to keep them relatively in the middle. And that's going to fly us at a rate of 200, which is what our RC rate is. And then as my sticks go towards the outer edges of full deflection, that super is going to kick in, and we're going to double our speed up, or our rates up to 400. So check it out. So here we are in 200, and I flick it, and we've just doubled our speed. So that's what super does. That gives you your low rates right off the get-go and the option to go high speed. Now, let's kick that up. Let's raise our rates a bit. Let's go up to, say, let's do 1,000. Let's do 1,000. That's a flyable rate. So notice around here you still have that kind of 200 degree area there. So we're still pretty low there. But the difference in the rates is going to be night and day. You might not have seen it running at a 400 rate. You're going to see it at 1,000. So here we go. I mean, we're at like 200. Very flyable, very smooth, buttery smooth, and then you can go to 11. You know what I'm saying? Spinal Tap reference there. This one goes to 11. So you'd fly creamy, buttery, smooth, and then give yourself a seizure. Yeah. So that's super there, and you can fine tune that to wherever you want it. You can drop your RC rate. So if you remember, our defaults were 667, so let's go 670. So that'll give us a max, close to what the default was, which is a good rate. Most people start out there, but now our RC rate's a little lower, and our super's still up there, and we can give a nice nice rate. That's not crazy like a 1,000, right? So we can still do those nice moves, but not nausea inducing. And you can fine tune this to whichever way you like, right? Like, it's all personal preference. If you like low rates, you go low rates. If you can't fly, you can't fly. But that's what rates are. Now, you can take things a step further and add some RC Expo. And what that does is that kind of dulls it down even more around your neutral axis. Let's watch the curve there as I adjust it. Let's give it a 0.5 Expo. Let's see what that does. Not enough. Let's go 0.1. So what we're doing here is we're just dulling it down. So if we want a little bit less resolution there to fly with, and then before it gets into your super, you can do that. And some guys fine tune that. I don't personally bother with any Expo. I don't see the point. I think super does a good job, but so you can see how it's really kind of dulled down, and I really got to use more deflection before it even responds to the controls. The only place I'll ever use Expo really is on my throttle. Say if you've got a lot of battery sag, you can kind of combat that with a little bit of an Expo, as it over counters the weight on now I'm not really going to get into your throttle Expo, but you might want to play with that. You can adjust your midpoint and your curve on your throttle. I'm going to knock back the Expo on the RC rates right now, so you can see that. But again, safe. Let's touch that a little bit where I was talking about Expo. I'm just going to take a flight with this different Expo here that we've set. I've decreased it so it's not as dulled down. But if you watch my stick action, you can see it's a little bit more dulled down. And obviously I'd have to fine tune this for what my needs are. So I guess there would be instances where RC Expo and Super Expo can work tandem together. I don't see it myself, but that's probably because I've never bothered. But at least now you guys know what you're doing when you're adjusting those settings if you've never bothered looking it up. And you don't have to have the rates all across the board. In fact, I typically, for my yaw axis, I'm running half the RC rate that I do as my other axis. And that's just a personal preference. I don't like having that much resolution on my yaw axis for just personal preference. I don't know how I got to that point, but that's kind of the way I like it. So that's how I've learned to fly. I think I was having too much issues yawing while I'm throttling, so rather increasing my dead band or my dead zone on the stick travel, I just have the resolution on that, and that's how I like to fly. So let's see if we can make use of Throttle Expo while I've got you on here. To do that, I don't think, you know what? We need to find a quad that will exhibit the issues that I use Throttle Expo for. So we could probably grab one from my fleet. Let's check this 3S out. This one might not have enough. I might have already put Expo on there. I built this quad to mimic one of my quads that I fly already. Yeah, see, so I'm having to give it full throttle, and she's really kind of gummy, really. This model doesn't have enough power, not enough thrust to overcome its own weight. So you can see we've got 0 Expo on our throttle, and our midpoint's just a normal midpoint. So what we're going to do, first off, I want to show you this quad here. Watch the midpoint as we're taking off. This is our linear curve. It's a line. So as we deflect our stick the whole length of the travel, we're going from 0 to 100 throttle. And we typically want to have our hover point around mid-throttle. This one's a little weak, as you can see. We're at mid-throttle. It's not hovering. So that's what we're going to adjust in our Expo. So what we're going to do is first off, we're going to give it an Expo. But we also want to move the midpoint of that throttle. So we are going to, oops. Let's try this. No, I'm in the wrong direction. I want it to the left of that. There. So as you can see now, the midpoint of our throttle is going to give almost full throttle, which is what on this model we typically need to hover good. So we've curved it out. So now we've got a little bit of extra resolution on the tail of that curve, and we still needed to use this much throttle to hover, but it's kicking in at the midpoint. So let's we've saved that. Let's restart our model here. We're going to arm. And now you can see we're more than hovering at midpoint now. We're flying good, and we can catch ourselves without going full throttle now. I mean, this doesn't increase your thrust at all. It just increases your throttle percentage on your throttle axis. That's all it's doing. So it's not like it's not boosting it any. It's just running it harder with less stick travel so that it feels natural for you. That's all it's doing. because you don't want to be flying with your throttle up here, right? That's not what you want. It doesn't feel good. It gives you very little resolution. You want to be flying around here, especially you don't want to be having to yaw way up here. You want to do all your work in center stick. And if you learn without this Expo on this particular model, you're going to develop bad habits. You're going to develop a habit of flying at 100% throttle, and you're going to have troubles trying to overcome that. So you kind of want to compensate for each model that you're flying with your rates and Expo, that sort of thing, so that they all feel the same in your hands. Hopefully that makes sense to you. You want to be able to pick up your controller, adjust, have your rates essentially the same all across the board, depending on what you're doing. If you've got like a Cinewhoop, you're going to have it tuned differently for the needs of video. But if you're doing freestyle, you typically want to have all your models kind of flying similar rates, and you want your throttle going the same rate. You want to hover at the same. It's your flying style. When I'm flying in my simulator, I have those rates set the same that I'll have my own drone set, because I want them to feel similar. And I'll tweak it in the simulator by watching my own footage from my flights so that I can make my simulator more realistic to the models that I'm actually flying in real life. So I hope you learned something from this. I know it's confusing. I know I don't explain it the greatest. This is my first time trying to explain it to anybody. Hopefully I'm doing an all right job and you guys are on the same page with me now. At any rate, thanks again for watching. For those of you guys that have been waiting for me to explain it, I apologize it took so long.